Welcome back, Truth Seeker. September 29th, 2023. And one of the big stories today, the flooding in New York City. And what I want people to think about is how expensive everything's getting and how all of these climate disasters are having an impact on everybody's expenses. If you're not in New York City today, you're going to feel this anyway on your insurance expense. For me personally, in the past year, my insurance at the beginning of the year was about $200 per month. It's up to almost $300 a month, and I haven't made any claims. I haven't had any accidents. It's going up because insurance companies are raising everyone's rates due to all of the climate disasters, from the flooding to the fires. And again, you're seeing things like insurance companies not even covering certain states and no longer providing home insurance, or you had a cabin in the woods. Now you can't have that anymore because it costs a gazillion dollars to insure it because of the potential fire hazard. And the thing that's annoying is, while some people are thinking, well, this is just climate change and this is what Al Gore and all those people have been warning about for years, that's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. This isn't climate change. This is weather warfare, as it was admitted to back in 1952 on August 15th, the Jesuit order's birthday. Before this flooding happened today, I want you to see what CNN's headline said last night. High impact flood event targets New York City. Do weather systems target cities? Targeting. That's like you're putting something in the crosshairs. And notice, today's September 29th, the day leaving 93 days left in the year. The numbers 93 and 39 are huge numbers in New York City. When Sandy devastated New York, that was a huge 39 ritual, synced up with Sandy Hook not too far away, which was also brought to you by the same cabal. Again, the Jesuits, just like how the first act of weather warfare was admitted to on their birthday, August 15th, way back in 52, which was more than 71 years ago now. And we all know what happened in Hawaii and what the governor said on the Jesuit order's birthday this year with Maui. He compared it to 9/11 and Ground Zero. And let's not forget, there was a huge hurricane off the shore of New York City the day 9/11 happened. And recently you had the massive earthquake that devastated a lot of people over in the biblical part of the world. The day there was a huge, massive hurricane in the Atlantic. It's another topic, but again, the weather warfare is very sophisticated. These people know how to move energy. But again, September 29th, the day leaving 93 days left in the year, and New York, getting smashed with rainfall and flooding. And just imagine how many insurance claims there's going to be today, from automotive to buildings. Huge. And again, it's another drop in the bucket, or a big drop in the bucket. And with regards to the psychopaths being the Jesuits, who are a military order serving the Catholic Church and everything they're doing being biblical, think about the Old Testament and the biblical flood. How many chapters are in the Old Testament? 929. What's today? 929. What's United States of America equal in Jewish gematria? 929. Who's been running this nation from the beginning? It's obvious when you know what's going on. Who's dead today? How about the oldest Jewish senator in the history of the United States on 929? Coast to coast. She's out in California. New York's getting swamped. And again, I mean, people need to wake up. So often with the weather now, that you just read the headlines, it's militaristic. Bomb cyclone, nuclear storm. Storm targets New York City. It's mockery. And again, this is the nation that experimented with weather warfare and blown up big bombs in the sky and all kinds of crap for longer than almost any of us have been around, since the end of World War II. So yeah, I just want you to see the coincidence of New York's big-time flood today, how the day's just right. And again, realize, if you're not in New York City, this is still having an impact on your cost of living, your expenses, and that's part of the agenda, right? Klaus Schwab, Jesuit scumbag, he said by 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. And since he made those remarks, energy costs have skyrocketed. A lot of people don't have any disposable income because of how high energy costs are, spending all their money on their commute, keeping their house heated, cooled, if they can even afford to do so, food prices through the roof, and all these little stories and excuses for why they're happening. Oh, well, that's because of COVID. Oh, that's because of Russia, Ukraine. Oh, that's because of climate change. It's funny how if you just learn the numerical code, you can see how the numbers just go through everything. Just one number just connects it all. Again, like for example, the formal title of the Jesuits, 50, or their formal title Society of Jesus, which has a gematria value of 56, like Washington, D.C., which is their stronghold. Coronavirus 56, like Anthony Fauci, the face of that, another Jesuit scumbag. Like Cuomo, the 56th governor of New York, went to Fordham along with Trump. And again, COVID 56 years after Trump's Jesuit education began at Fordham. And then Jesuit scumbag Gavin Newsom, who's about to turn 56 right now, but who locked his state down in the big 56 ritual, saying 56% of people get coronavirus. Climate change is another big 56 phrase. You know, climate change, coronavirus, the Pope in Russia, Ukraine on the 56th day of the year to plead with Putin about the entire thing that was a huge Jesuit orchestrated event. But all these little stories that become the excuses for why things are happening as they are have all been contrived. They're all needless, and they all serve the very Jesuit Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 climate goals. And don't forget the first Jesuit popes in office who's big on, you know, the Green New Deal and all these agendas. Let's not forget the word pope itself equals 56. That's why he was in Russia, Ukraine on the 56th day of the year right after it broke out. But, yeah, people got to wake up. And for all the morons who come here and think all this stuff's a coincidence, like, literally, you people deserve what's happening. You deserve it because you're brain dead and you're moronic and you don't know anything about anything and your head's so far up your ass and you're so invested in the liars and the lies, and that's all you listen to. You turn on the nightly news for your information. You got to be a fucking moron to turn on the nightly news to get information. Literally a fucking moron. All it does is lie to you every day. It doesn't tell you shit about shit. You know? They're the ones saying, oh, bomb cyclone tonight. Nuclear storm tonight. New York being targeted by the storm tonight. You got to be a fucking moron to not see the way you're being mocked. Yeah, the buildings just crumbled down into their own footprint. Masterminds over there in the caves of Afghanistan. Oh, never mind, they're not in Afghanistan. We just spent a whole bunch of your tax money blowing it all up so that Apple could get in there to the mountains to build their smartphones. They're now being used to spy on you. Ha ha. If you guys didn't get it, that's what they did. Remember when we were spending all the money blowing up all the mountains with our bunker, what would they call them? I forget what they called them. Bunker busting missiles, looking for the bunker of Osama in the mountains somewhere where all the minerals were. Oh, never mind how Rudy was right there by the numbers for 9/11, and then he was right there to protect the Sackler family from spreading opioids across the nation. And how where did all the opioid production come from? Oh, yeah, that's right. We went into Afghanistan after 9/11 and killed all the Taliban who'd eliminated the opioid production because they knew how deadly that plant could be for so many people, how opioids destroy lives. So the U.S. All-American G.I. Joe heroes went over there and killed all those bad guys who actually cared about people's general well-being. And the next thing you know, opioid crisis. Rudy Giuliani from 9/11 to the opioids. But yeah, I mean, this stuff's really annoying, you guys. And again, just everyone with their head up their ass. No clue about what's going on. Wearing their slave muzzles. Believing the lies. Bowing down to the flag. You guys remember that song from the 90s? That was the other Zach from Rage Against the Machine. So, if you don't know that song, you should look it up. Chorus is very true. Believing the lies, bowing down to the flag. Yeah, just day after day. The perfect storms by the perfect numbers. Bomb cyclone takes out all the corn in Iowa by the numbers. Remember that one from a couple years ago? That was another reason the food spiked. Here. What'd they call that thing? They used some term that I'd never heard before. I'm trying to remember what they called it. Let me see if I can pull that one up. Just remind you of all the things they've been doing by the numbers over the years to get us to where we are. Derecho or something. Derecho. Is that what they called it? Derecho. Yeah, here we go. Midwest derecho devastates Iowa corn crop. They're talking about how this is going to have consequences on our food supply for years because, a lot of corn's made into all sorts of things that become part of the processed food that sits on the shelves for years. But that took place on a date with 58 Numerology and corn and derecho, both 58. Go figure. They called it a land hurricane, and then they gave it this term, derecho. But there's been a million stories like this we've covered over the years. That was in 2020. Go figure. By the numbers. Day after day. So. And again, what's going to stop it? The only thing that's going to stop what's going on is people waking up and coming out with their pitchforks and saying enough is enough. You got to take the keys away from this federal government, which is controlled by this Jesuit cabal. And we need to get to the bottom of where this technology is being run from. I mean, it's only going to happen with an uprising and enough pitchforks aimed at enough necks. And it's way overdue. I think people would do it if they realized that this was all true, that I'm talking this isn't some bullshit. And it's not, you guys. It's not. You're watching a channel where a few years ago we circled all the dates to look out for hurricanes because we know the hurricane code. We've been talking about it for a decade. And literally every single day we circled before hurricane season began, which was a lot of dates, it was 2 days a month for all hurricane season, on every single day except one, a hurricane made landfall. That's because hurricane and flood equal 52, like how weather warfare goes back to 1952. And again, the one day that a hurricane didn't make landfall, a hurricane formed in the ocean that day. So every day we circled months in advance, connected. And it's the same thing year after year. That was the first year we ever saw where they literally hit every date. That was back in 2020. But still, you look at all these major storms that are causing this major devastation, it's the same type of ritual, the same type of language. Again, seriously, how does a storm target a city? High impact flood event targets New York City. And then for the person who will come and say, well, why would our own military target our own cities? Again, your nation's never, your nation in your lifetime hasn't been run by your nation. Should have figured that out a long time ago. How about all the poor people in America who never got a handout from anyone in the government, yet they bring in all these refugees and give them everything? This nation's not about you. It's not about us. This nation's controlled by psychopaths who came over from Europe. Same Jesuit psychopaths certain people were trying to escape. Again, look into the Jesuits. Look into how many times they've been warned about for hundreds of years. And again, the Jesuits have always been warned about being manipulative and political and trying to steer agendas in their favor. While certain people are getting screwed from all of this, like all of us who have to pay way more in insurance this year, and it's only going to continue to go up. And see, it's just like I was talking to a gentleman that moved in this neighborhood, and he said they just had to sell their cabin because they can't afford to insure it anymore. Again, by 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. They're just finding more and more ways so that people can afford less and less. But who can afford it? Again, the giants. Just like how when the Great Depression was orchestrated once upon a time, very few companies survived. Just the biggest, and everybody else, fell under. And look at what they did in COVID. I mean, it's no different. In COVID, your politicians who cared so much about your safety, they shut down mom and pop and said, you know what, but you'll be safe shopping at Walmart and Costco and Target. So you can still go there, but mom and pop store is dangerous. But Walmart, Costco, Amazon delivery, that's safe. Again, I mean, this is also why books have been written like The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. How else could the politicians ever get away with this if people weren't fucking morons? People should have been out with the pitchforks then. You're going to take away my business? But that's also the thing, too. Because of the way they've raised us, there's very few people who know how to lace up their own boots and go out and make their own way and start their own business. Almost everyone's working for these mega corporations. You have a nation where approaching half the population's probably employed by either Walmart or Costco or Target or Amazon. But yeah, it is really annoying to just watch how this is going down and how very few people are catching on. And then some people call New York New Babylon, right? Babylon, Old Testament, getting 929 chapters in the Old Testament. New York, New Babylon, getting hit with the flood. But again, we'll keep this relatively short and sweet. Sorry if this is impacting your day, but at the same time, it's really impacting all of our days. And just keep watching your insurance rates climb. Again, it's a big difference, right? When we're all paying $100 more a year in insurance. It's only going to get worse unless we do something about it. And that's also the other thing, just the politics going on and all these losers up on the stage debating a bunch of bullshit. The only thing I want to hear any leader talking about if they're going to get my vote is how we still need justice for 9/11, how we still need to call out the COVID scams that went down, and all this other shit. Weather warfare. If I don't hear anybody talking about any of those things, there's no way I'm voting for them, because those are really the only things that matter. The criminal conspiracy that's this nation. You're never going to hear any of the frauds up on the stage talk about those things, though, because they're chosen to be there because they are frauds. They're just going to keep people bickering about the same stuff that doesn't matter. All right, Truth Seeker. We'll leave it there for now. And until next time.